Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Giving honor unto the Most High, the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. We call this one here, do not devalue yourself. And as in other matters of presenting, we do not intend for this to be long. But let's see what happens. We want to, brothers and sisters, speak upon a matter as pointed out as the video shows. There shall be no harlot, nor the price of a dog brought in for any vow, for both are an abomination. The value of a harlot, we know a harlot in Hebrew is a zonah. And that is, in this particular case, a female of the whorish way, if we will. Nor the value of a dog. A dog, in this case, in Deuteronomy 23, is a male gigolo, a male whore. So, in light of such, brothers and sisters, and not devaluing oneself, if you call a man a dog, and we're not talking the slang term that brothers today, like, yo, that's my dog. We're not talking like that. For instance, when the female says he's a dog, she doesn't see him in a certain value. When a man calls a female a dog, he doesn't see her in a certain value. Shalom, the Vayahu ben Dora. When a female calls another female a dog, she does not see see her in a certain value. Now, when a male says a male is a dog, in many cases, it's a slang term of today, meaning like that's his boy, if you will. But even if we go there, the term boy and dog in regard to a grown man is still can be, in many cases, seen in a way of not being valued high. Now, it matters, family, excuse me, when one does not see another in a certain value, it cannot be faked. It cannot be as if, quote, the love is there and not be there. So now, looking upon it like that, thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of Yah, your power, for any vow. In vowing, you become bonded, like your word is your bond. The Most High is saying in Deuteronomy, he does not want what is the harlot or the dog to be making vows to him. That connection is not what the Most High is accepting in that case. Shalom to Mika. And what we want to point out, family, is you should never, male or female alike, allow yourself to be devalued. You should never be okay with such. There are YouTube videos, and we already know that the N-word, is deemed horrible, and it is. There are videos of Caucasians getting dropped by brothers for using the N-word. And I mean picked up, dropped, slapped down, punched, knocked out, all kinds of stuff. I remember in school, and I'm glad that the brother didn't get physical with it, he verbally assaulted this lady because she called him the N-word. And she was so apologetic. In her way, she didn't mean it derogatory. But we have to understand that you got to know, like the Apocrypha says, know a friend. You got to know certain things might just offend somebody. Shalom Uziel. And looking upon it like that, brothers and sisters, and seeing certain things, do not devalue yourself. Now, Eddie Griffin, a comedian, made a joke, a comment by saying the dogs are the slaves of the animal kingdom, and that cats look at dogs and say, you do anything them two-legged bleep bleep tell you to do. Sit, okay, roll, okay. And you don't have, as a dog, according to the joke that Eddie Griffin was saying, in the world of the felines or the cats, your own mind. You allow yourself as a dog to become devalued and trained to suit your master. I don't know why I'm rolling, but I'm rolling. You allow yourself, while not able, for instance, to pick up, per se, and throw a frisbee, to be the one to catch it and bring it back. You can't throw a ball, but you allow yourself to be the one used to go and pick it up and bring it back. So now, understanding what dogs are about and how dogs are not valued on the same level as a lion, as a bear, as a rhino. You understand? We can begin to see perhaps why, by one being devalued, why we should not devalue ourselves. You want to get into an argument with a woman? Call her a female dog. Let a woman call a man a dog. He knows she's being insulting. So while this video, this speech, if you will, is not an attack on the feline or the canine or any animal for that matter, and while this is not an attack on dog lovers, while this is not an attack on cat lovers, we know that the animals serve us. And when we devalue ourselves as the two-legged creatures, us humans, we have accepted that. When I send books out through FedEx, I am asked, what value, sir, do you declare upon this merchandise? And I have to declare a value upon it. The same word in Hebrew for value is the same word for price. The word mekir, memche, yod resh. So in light of that kind of matter, brothers and sisters, when you now know your value, when you know that you're not a harlot, male or female, because there are male harlots, when you know that your value is not like that of a dog, because there are male and female dogs, two-legged ones, you know not to allow yourself to get played as such, to be manipulated and used as such. You understand? When you don't allow yourself to be lowered than what he who created both the cat, dog, and thrice yourself, then you know where your place is at. Now, let's break it to a race matter for the moment. Black people, do not, and they know not, we know not, to go and try to make it a minimal manner in the employer's office, certainly if he's Caucasian or she's Caucasian. When you see their family on the table in the picture, perhaps even with their dog in the picture, you do not say you're trying to be arrogant, showing your spouse. When you see their anniversary picture, you do not say you just want to show off your relationship. But when it comes to our people, black on black, if you will, when a brother or a sister shows themselves to be happy with a significant other, sometimes what happens is, man, that ain't Bill. They just want to show off. Now, let's go race for a matter, for a little while. As they said, quote, black person. You do not question the credentials when you walk around, they of another race, and you see their diploma, their certification on the wall. When they write books and they have PhD next to their name, when they write books, you understand, and they have ESQ regarding them being a lawyer, you don't really sit there and question it. But when it comes to our people, quote, black on black, he ain't no author, she ain't no author, she's not a real poet. This is something, and I'm not trying to be funny or nothing like that. I like the song that Little Kim made, and I'm not going to say the whole name of it because it implies the B word as in a female dog. And the song I'm talking about that Little Kim made is called Shut Up Bleep. And in it, she said, I heard she on coke, shut up bleep. And in that song, in the chorus, I heard Biggie wrote her bleep. For those who know what I'm talking about, Biggie Smalls is claimed by many to write songs for Little Kim. And in it, Little Kim says in the line, shut up bleep. She does not, in that song, value the people who said she was on coke, she has a problem, she can't rap, Biggie Smalls wrote her stuff. So in her response, she calls those people female and male dogs. So now when we know the value of a dog in the eyes of many of us as people, would we sit there and come to our own with the same respect that we go to others whom we don't know from a hole in the wall? See, what am I conveying, brothers and sisters, is don't let nobody take away your light that you have. The people saying in many cases that Little Kim got her rhymes from Biggie Smalls perhaps cannot rhyme themselves. The people up there saying, and I totally disagree with a man dressing as a woman. There's no excuse for that one. But the people out there saying that Kevin Hart is overrated as a comedian probably are not a comedian themselves. While I will never, knowing myself as Israel, condone cross-dressing and drag queen matters, Tyler Perry did make a salient point concerning Spike Lee. And that was, you don't see Steven Spielberg and others going back and forth like you see even us in academia or in high places doing that one with another. You understand? And so that's something we want to point out for edification purposes. We are the people, while we are, sadly, in many cases, when a dog sees a dog, they challenge each other. Correct me if I'm wrong. You don't see, brothers and sisters, other nations who make videos, making videos about going to jump another sister, like the one who did the song did. Forget her name at the time. It'll come back to me, perhaps. And in the video, a whole gang of people just teamed up and just came to this one person's house. You understand? So while we don't want to ignore reality, we do not at the same token want to make a bad reality. You understand? I recently saw a video, and it was about us as a people. And in it, the guy was playing a practical joke by having chocolate on his hand and smearing it on somebody else, asking for toilet paper as a quote joke, as if to say that he's smearing feces on somebody else. That's what you do when you don't have any kind of respect. You present yourself in front of the world as a clown to get laughs. Oh, I'm just joking. And then we wonder, as black males, black men, oh, these sisters just hate us. No, we have presented ourselves as dogs and clowns. And when her clock ticks and she becomes 35, 40, 45, she doesn't want someone who, I'm just joking. I'm here to make you laugh. She wants to settle down, but you still, hey, I'm joking. I remember where I used to work at. And the people, not making it personal, decided it was a good idea to call me from one place of the job to the other by the extension on the phone there, right? You understand? And say they want you to turn in your uniform into the office. So of course, my heart begins to jump. This is employment, something that many of us do need. When I call the office to ask them what's going on and wonder why the office wouldn't call me directly, the office did not know what in the world I was talking about. When I found out that the statement made to me while we are on the clock, while we are at work, was a joke. Oh, we just joking. I'm glad I was raised, not that I'm the toughest person on earth or the weakest person on earth, but I'm glad that I was raised with some decorum, because then the office would have had to have me removed. That's not something to joke about. Everything is not a laughing matter. Chris Rock talking about black men and cops, that's not a laughing matter. You understand? Now, getting back to what happened, say, in that particular thing with the job. The guy who's a grandfather and blacker than me told me, oh, you're just so sensitive. Oh. You sound like, and I say there's no disrespect, a doofus. Certain things you do not play with. Certain things you do not joke about. You understand? While people just using a movie, menace to society, when the guy did not steal, did not rob, did not violate, did not cause vandalism or nothing like that. He went in there. They paid for the beer, for those who know about the movie Menace to Society. Paid for it. The guy at the cash register apparently wasn't given the change quick enough, if he even wanted to. Just closed the register. He said, yo, you ain't gonna get my homeboy his change? Old dog, in that case, was verbally defending his friend after his friend paid for the object. Ain't even asked for a discount. Yo, let me get $1 off. He didn't even come at the guy like that. So after the guy, reluctantly it appears, gave Kane in the movie Menace to Society his change, they walking out, not even walking out cursing, not even saying, yeah, you better have, you bleep, bleep. He didn't even, they wasn't even really talking. That's how perhaps he was able in the movie to hear what was said. When the guy behind the register said, I feel sorry for your mother. Of all the people in that movie that he pulled the gun on, nobody blames him for that, to my knowledge. Unless we're talking about a movie. You don't know if that man's mother is deceased. You don't know if that man's mother gave him up for adoption. You don't know the circumstances between him and his mother. But you are comfortable enough to say you feel sorry for his mother. What happened to the guy behind the register? Those who know the movie know what happened. You feel sorry for who? Just get out, I don't want no problems. Then you should have never said anything as if the person was a problem. Now, how does that connect to what we're talking about? Brothers and sisters, when we see each other as a problem, this nigga is going to outshine me. This big female word is dog is going to outshine me. So I'm going to do little hand-picked chicken head stuff to try to make sure he or she does not outshine me. That is the spirit that they who are against us, oppressors, have of us. I remember in a place where I used to work at, as an example, we took a test. There was another brother, it was a Caucasian dude, and myself. To pass this exam, all you needed was a 70 or higher. So if you got a 71 or if you got a 92, it didn't matter. 70 or higher. The brother, I saw the results on the paper. He got a 90. Not being arrogant, but very happy. I got an 88. The Caucasian dude got an 80. You know he could not be at peace with us at the job after that, even though we all passed. None of us had to take it again. None of us were discriminated against because we all passed it. But that dude, having passed the test himself, could not stomach the matter that two, niggas got higher than him. That is the mentality that some of us have, one with another. You understand? How dare you do better than I, dog? Let me play the role. If you saw the movie Sankofa, and the lady in Sankofa said that she will never be with the guy that's going around as a headman against his own people. The slave master in that movie, Sankofa, told him, you used to run to sit there and tear up these black hides. What happened to my, N-word? You understand? Some of us voluntarily are like that kind of guy that we saw, for those who saw the movie Sankofa. Don't worry, Muscle. I was not racist because I hate my own too. Many of us subconsciously are like that. You understand? I remember, and this is not trying to be funny, there were two CEOs who were Caucasians. And they were outside having dinner or whatever they was doing. And I was walking by them, knowing them from the building where we all worked at. Notice I state we, I, and the two CEOs who happened to just be Caucasian, all worked in the same building. Perhaps used at different times, not to be nasty, the same urinal. In other words, we're all human, right? When I spoke to them passing by on the way to the train, the black people who saw me speak to these executively dressed white men looked like he just like that talking to Massa. And they said good night to the nigga. Yeah. You remember that movie, Django? the part that what's his name, Samuel L. Jackson played, that's how their ruach or their spirit was. Moses, he talked to him. So I'm pointing these things out to say that sadly, subconsciously, we have that same manner. So how does all of that tie into what we're talking about? When brothers and sisters, if we will, right? When we know good and well that we are a special people, and at this point, I'm talking to the said black people who know themselves as the house of Israel. When you know, as we've been saying for over some years, for you are a holy people to the Lord thy God, who set thee above all the nations of the earth. We've been reading Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6 for decades. For you are a holy people above all the nations on the face of the earth. But yet, in the house of Israel, you find the mentality that will still say, I'm going to make sure this brother or sister don't shine. I'm going to make sure I do my best, Edom, Japhet, whatever you call these nations. He's nor she's is going to sit there and shine. The Old Testament, and me being an Old Testament brother is what I'm going to focus on, has 39 books. From Genesis to Malachi in the King James Version, and from Genesis to 2 Chronicles in the Standard Tanakh. The Old Testament, the Tanakh, has 39 books. Personally, I wrote 12 books. Now, did you know somebody said to me, citing the Tanakh, one of the books in the 39 books of the Tanakh, it said, in the writing of many books, there is no end, and much studies are weariness to the flesh. So let me understand this, brother. You're saying to me, citing a book in Ecclesiastes, written by a man, Solomon, that for all we know, you and I both can be the descendants of Solomon, for all we know. While we say we don't know our tribes, who knows? But getting back to the point, you're saying while a brother wrote 12 books, citing a book that has 12 chapters, and in that book has 38 other books in it, that me writing 12 books is the writing of many books, there's no end. Do you see where this is going? The Tanakh has more books in it than I wrote. But the hating spirit, the spirit that would say, how dare this nigga write? Shh, keep the language clean. How dare one write such things again and dropping it again and dropping it again and dropping it again and dropping it again. Collaborating with his lady and pushing books out like that and promoting it and pushing it and promoting it and pushing it. How dare this nigga do that? So I'm going to sit there and misquote the Tanakh and say, in the writing of many books, there is no end. While you stay on Facebook, not understanding why one puts their face on a book. Elevate, step it up. Don't be on the block like Saul, no disrespect intended. Grow like David and get a name for yourself while being respectful. And don't let nobody sit there and tell you, well, you know, you doing that is really arrogant. You understand? I can't do it, so how dare you? In prison, at times people are given clemency. And at times when people are given clemency, they who don't get it are upset that somebody would get it and then accept it. I remember at a job, right, where a brother was, and I failed the test. Like the test I talked about, I passed with an 88, but when I took that same test before, I had failed it. But getting back to the point, and thankful to the Creator that I eventually did pass the test. Here it is. While I was going to happily take this test that I eventually failed on that particular one, the people could not, who look like me, stand to sit there and see that. Because see, with that kind of test I'm talking about, it opens up more doors in the kind of job / career that a brother is in. So while I'm just here okay in my position, how dare the nigga try to do something different than me? That is what the Tanakh points out with Saul and David. Saul has slain his thousands and David his 10,000s. So instead of Saul saying, of course he did, I trained him, David answers to me. David's going to have children through my daughter. David's friend is my son. So not only I, Saul, command David, I'm his father-in-law. I'm equated to his father. And he answers to me. He calls me Adoni Hamelech Shaul, my Lord King Saul. I don't call David king or Adon as in Lord, but Saul didn't even see it like that. Saul saw people saying, Saul slew his thousands and David his 10,000s. And it says in the Tanakh that he gave him the eye since then on. I'm not going to kill David. I'm going to send him with the Philistines. And then when they slay him, my problem will be gone. How is your problem the person who's calling you Lord and King? How is David your problem? He's calling you Adon and Melech. You understand? How can that possibly be that? He's not showing up in your face. I'm going to be anointed and I'm going to take your place. David knew he was going to take Saul's place, but he never shoved it in his face and rubbed it in his face. He knew what the Most High position for him as David was, and he still didn't go against respecting his father-in-law, his friend's father. And somebody who David's father Jesse would have bowed down to and said, my Lord and King Saul. So as the brother typed in, that hurt Saul's ego. That mentality, you see what happened with Saul? He did the hit quartal. He committed suicide. Brothers and sisters, can we see the result of what can happen when you play fiddler? When you play not avenging your people like he was supposed to do with the Amalekites, loving everybody else but your own. You understand? See, when your ego, and ego simply is a Latin word for I or self, is compromised. You don't know how to say when the women was saying, Saul slew his thousands and David his 10,000s. You know, he could have, in layman terms of today, he could have sunned David right there. Dawid, Tali Mayim, fetch me water. You know, Tali means fetch. You know, that's what you tell a dog to do. Tali Mayim. And David would have gladly went and got Shaul, his wife's father, Michal. Here you go. Here's the water. But Saul didn't understand that. Saul didn't see the bigger picture. You understand? So, bringing it back to this and then going to close out, brothers and sisters. Do not have the Saul mentality, brothers and sisters. Do not be the one who, as a human, acts like a dog and lower your standard. Like the joke that the comedian I mentioned earlier said, the dogs are the slaves to the animal kingdom. When you see yourself not being respected, don't tolerate that. The laws of the Torah tell us, you shall surely rebuke your neighbor and not bear sin because of such. So not rebuking and holding it in, moving funny style, moving different because you feel away, you feel offended, and so forth and so on. By not addressing it and moving funny because of where your heart is at the moment, that's kata'ah, that's a sin. Kata also means to sin, also means to miss, M-I-S-S, like you're missing a mark, say. So we don't want to miss the mark. We don't want to be the dog being made to chase after the frisbee and then got to look around for it in the grass because you ain't got no hands to sit there and feel. You understand that? The mentality that Saul had would have it to where David wouldn't be connected to the other kings of the earth. You wanted to keep David just simply as your son-in-law, kept in a cut, if you will, used only when you need him to be used. But just like was stated by Goliath in 1 Samuel 17, when Goliath himself said, "Am I a dog that you bring this child to me?" David himself knew that he was not to be played like a dog. In Torah, the beast that dies of itself, you're supposed to feed to dogs. We don't eat beast that die of itself. We have a higher echelon of self. You understand? So we don't eat swine, shellfish, scavengers, animals that are predators. But just like in Roots, the movie, when Fiddler said to Kunta, "You must be one of them that don't eat pig meat. They will feed you to your hogs. They ain't as choosy as you are about what they eat." So when you don't have choice, like Fiddler in the movie Roots said that Kunta should not have a choice on what he should eat, if you remember the movie, when he tried to give him pork. And Kunta was like, he wasn't eating the swine flesh. He, even though he was in chains as a slave there, as a captive, he still knew his higher echelon ways. But when you're around a brother, a sister, a family member, a co-worker, whoever, who doesn't see him or herself as a higher echelon matter, and he or she doesn't see themselves in a high way, in a great way, and they think that you are arrogant or ego because you speak of such in a manner, and you have dreams and aspirations of such in a manner, and they don't verbally, online, offline, to your face, behind your back, support what you're about, that is not an accident. He or she, that is their portion. The Most High is speaking to Israel the first time. What does it say? Anoki ya Eloheka, I am the Lord thy God. Ashehu zetika be'eretz Mitzrayim mebeit abadi, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Lo yishe laka Elohim akerim al panai. You shall have no other God before me. Lo ta'aseh lakafasel wakal tamuna bashamayim mima'ah. From the heaven above or the earth beneath. Ba'aretz mitzakat, or the waters beneath the earth. O mayim, o bamayim mitzakat la'aretz. No tishtaka with lahim below ta'abdin. You should not bow down to them nor serve them. Why? In part. Why you don't bow down and serve that which is in the heaven above, the earth beneath, or the waters underneath, is because they are used to help you. You don't lower your standard and bow down to the animal. The trees give the things when you breathe out and it breathes to you. I forgot what it's called in science. When us as humans breathe out oxygen and the trees give helium or something of that nature. Pardon my ignorance on that. Those who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. Please put in the comments if you care to. The trees and us work together. The trees don't bow down to us. So why are we bowing down to images of wood? The trees need us and we need the trees. We need each other. So how do we have time to stop in need of each other to worship each other? You understand? Photosynthesis. Told that with Bob, brother. Ki ano ki ya Eloheka el kwana. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God. Pokwe awon abot al bani. Al shaleshi wa al be'im leson I. Let's look at that. Visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children of the third and fourth generation of those that hate me. Not that 3 and 4 generations ago, you're paying for it 3, 4 generations later. No, it's saying 1 generation, 2, 3, 4 generation of haters. Straight down the line. That's what that's talking about. You understand? Listen I to those that hate me. The Most High, and speaking to the children of Israel, let it be known that he has haters. So as the children of the Most High, you're going to have haters as well. Hebrew rhymes, okay. But getting back to the point, and showing mercy to the thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So in the 10 Commandments, the Most High stated, listen I to my haters. Ain't that a term that we use today? Her hater. So if the Most High is identifying that he has haters, of course, when we're doing the things the Most High have us to do, they who hate it indirectly hate him. That's why Israelites hating on Africa makes no sense, because the Most High created Africa. All these Hamites. The Most High gave Ham to Noah as a child. Ham didn't have children by accident. Cush, Mizraim put in Canaan. And thus you get many of all the Hamitic nations from the line of Ham. So to hate Africa, the land, or to hate Hamites, when the Most High made them, what are you saying? The Most High didn't command you to hate them. He told you to love your own. That's what he told you. And you shall love thy brother as thyself. It's already implied you love yourself. So now if we understand, brothers and sisters, that the Most High in the commandments stated that he has haters, what do the haters of the Most High do? They don't talk about the Most High. They deny the existence of the Most High. They have words like, we should be atheists, as if there is no Elohim. The Big Bang Theory, everything just happened. Because as Proverbs says, the wicked do not understand judgment. That's Proverbs 28. Everything just don't happen. Some things are just signs for us to be able to see. You understand? So even though there are records confirming the Torah story about Balaam and Balak, called the Dear Allah writing, as pointed out on this channel, even though there is an Egyptian writing like the Apura Papyrus, speaking very similar and close to that of the plagues that was there in the Exodus, even though there is the Serabit al-Kadim that actually speaks of the Exodus and mentions Moses by name in it, haters of the Most High are going to say, no, that cannot be. That can't exist. So if those people who hate the Most High have certain things to say of the Most High, We can, not that we are the Most High, identify how you, brother or sister, have a hater. Let's break it down, if we will. Oh, that little thing you just did right there. Oh, that's what it is. I know somebody who did something like that. No, they can't say he or she, them, him or herself did it. Because if you did something, the hater to you is going to say, hey, I know somebody who did something like that. He or she ain't doing nothing, perhaps, to show for anything. But they're going to sit there and talk about what somebody else did. I remember on the bus one time, I had to, like I was trying to teach my mother, sure you're right, LOL. But I remember having to tell mommy, may she rest in peace once, that these guys that was in the back of the bus were punks. Because everything they said, yo, they this and he that, she this and they that. Everything they said, I said, mommy, they speaking only in the third person. They not talking about second person. You, my brother, you, my sister. They not talking first person, I and we. Because first person is I and the plural of the first person is we. They're talking about people not there. And I was saying to my mom, and she rests in peace now, like, I don't know if they're lying or not, but everything was for that was just for show, because you can always tell because everything was in the third person. So now, when it's a thing of the haters of the Most High and how they talk, not that we're the Most High, but you can tell how a hater to you, my brother or sister, talks and how they move by seeing how they who hate the Most High walks and moves and talks and deals with certain things. Let's bring it back to not only black people, but namely the Israelites. You can't say shalom or shalom to your brother or your sister. You don't ask your brother or sister, Anitob, I am well, wa'ata, and you, Anitob, wa'at, and you, if you're speaking to a female. You say something to the effect of, I'm good, thank you for asking. So let me understand this. You take the fact someone asked you how you're doing, but in your heart you're a hater, because you are who you are, and you can't stomach to ask your brother or sister, and how are you? So you take this whole sentence of saying, thank you for asking. You don't ask afterward, and how are you, my brother or sister? So you can be thanked for asking what you was asked. Your hatred towards your brother and sister is blocking you being thanked by your brother or sister. Rewind that part in this video when it's uploaded and play that part again. You understand? People who hate the Most High, as pointed out, and we want to emphasize, we are not the Most High on this earth, have a problem with you having any kind of authority on a matter, or as the Most High is the creator, we as humans can't procreate. We can take what the Most High has made and create and make something from that. The trees are used to make paper. Aluminum comes from, I think, trees, if I'm not mistaken. So you can use a thing put together like a computer and take the cardboard and put a cover to a book, and you can take glue that comes out the earth, because I know glue comes out the earth and trees, and cement it together, and boom, you got a book. You can take something out the earth and etch it in. Boom, here's a picture. How dare you think you're an artist? You can take electricity, which is made by the Most High, put it in a thing called a microphone. The Most High already the creator of hearing. Make a thing called a speaker. The Most High being the creator of languages. You can take and begin to make songs for people's ears from the words in different languages that the Most High made. But the person who's the hater would say, what? I know somebody else who rhyme, yo. I know somebody else who sing, yo. You understand? As the haters of the Most High, and while we emphasize we are not the Most High, cannot stomach to just say Yah is all in all and there is none else. On a human level, the haters of you, brother or sister, can never stomach to say that track that you did is nice. That beat that you made is nice. That song that you made is nice. They're not going to, while they use the same instrument like a computer you got and click share, tag people online with it, they're going to do like the guy in St. Kofa did. Massa, Oz hate niggas too. Oz no racist. You see, Oz hate them more than you, boss. So Oz will make sure that this person don't get no shines. You feel me? Yes, sir. Israel does the same thing. It does not hurt you to share the accomplishments of your brothers and sisters. And this is not to be haughty or arrogant. On the channel, there are 4 different videos called about the businesses of Israelites and how we should promote one another. In the books I write, I talk about and ask brothers and sisters, let me know your business so I could put it in there. So if you sell oils, candles, songs, musicians, instruments, other books, I have no problem advertising in that manner because we are each other's most valuable resources. But like the haters of the Most High, they don't want to acknowledge that there is one who does things. On the human level, while we know we're not the Most High, haters cannot hide their feelings. So there are certain things that are done, certain things that are said, brothers and sisters, that has the hater being comfortable with you being labeled as a dog and not a brother or sister. The Apocrypha, it says, prove a friend and not be hasty to credit him. Prove a friend. Did not the Creator put Yisrael through a test in the wilderness? Brothers and sisters, while we talk about jobs, right? Do you know that there are jobs that when you're on probation or not, they would test you to see if you will steal? People who've had jobs or have jobs told me this. It's not an accident at a job when you know you're supposed to report a lost item. They put that there and have you on camera to watch you. There was a person, and not trying to be funny, I'm not going to get a location. He was working at a job. He was making $20 an hour, and this is like over 5 years ago. So that's a lot of good money. Union, benefits, vision, medical, dental, all of that, optical as they saw with the vision and dental and medical, all of that. Very good job. But the job put a test there. He was a porter at a job. They put $60 there. And he being a porter, a cleaner, swept it up and tried to act like he didn't see it. And then took the $60 and then left. They called him into the office, showed him the camera, bye-bye. Now had you known the commandments, thou shalt not steal, and obey the commandments, then you probably would have not gotten in that situation. You could have continued with your benefits. Optical, medical, dental, 401k, all of that gone because essentially you didn't keep the commandment of thou shalt not steal. So once they found out that this person who was cleaning the building, you understand, is a thief, they let the person go. And the union could do nothing about it because you broke a rule. Essentially, one of the rules of the Most High. You understand? So, why do I mention that? When you don't know your place, when you okay being degraded, of course you'll pick that $60 up after you swept it with the broom that probably been through dog manure while we talk about dogs throughout this presentation. You don't know where that broom been before you, bruh. But you okay sweeping it, maybe picking it up with a glove or not and putting it in your pocket and going home with it. You carrying, for all you know, who knows what from that broom into your home, your castle. You understand? Do not find yourself in that position. Do not find yourself, as it suggests, if I may say, or inferred, if I may say, correct me if I'm using it, even the correct term, my brothers and sisters. You should love your neighbor as yourself. Saul did not love himself. Anyone who can sit there and jump on his own sword has a lack of love for self. But if you don't love yourself, you can't love the people who respect you. You think they just kissing your behind. Yeah, David respects me. You know, Jonathan respects me. My daughters respect me. Hey, even the prophet Samuel was afraid to come around me, saying I was going to kill him. I, King Saul, you know, that kind of mentality. But he didn't have that love of self. So, of course, you couldn't extend it to Samuel. You couldn't extend it to your daughter Michal and your daughter Merab. You could not extend it to David, who loved you. You could not extend it to Jonathan. But you did extend it to the Amalekite women. See where we're going? Amalek is part of the children of Edom. Saul not loving himself. And Edom in Ezekiel is mentioned as having a hatred of old for Israel. Ezekiel chapter 36, if I remember right, is where it says that Edom, or 35, either Ezekiel 35 or Ezekiel 36, where it says Edom had a hatred of old for the house of Israel. Amalek comes from that. You don't think Edom told his children Amalek about the sons of Judah and the sons of Dan and Naphtali and Reuben and Simeon and Gad, and to never get over hating on the house of Israel? You understand? They teach their children that. Whoever you say Esau is, they teach their children that, believe that. You understand now? Saul, not loving his daughters, gave his daughter to a man and then took her back. What are you doing? You playing hopscotch marriage with your daughters? Saul, what are you doing? You attempt to assassinate your son, Nasi Yehonatan, or Jonathan, the prince. Did you know that Saul attempted to put his own son to death? Were you on some Molech stuff? Molech is when they used to sit there and sacrifice their children to a fire god or whatever. Saul, what are you doing? You want to murder your own prince, your successor, for all you knew, your successor. You try to put David to death, he respects you. But you make sure you save the Amalekite women of the house of Esau. Esau, who hates your people Saul of the tribe of Benjamin. I'm saying all of that to say you can't have hatred of self. You can't have hatred of your people while not at the same time having love for those who hate you. You understand? So, brothers and sisters, we don't want to leave a legacy like Saul, who had nobody to take his position on the throne. We don't want a legacy like Saul, who, while not loving yourself, while hating on those who love you and show you respect, because David showed him respect, to the point where somebody, an Amalekite, mind you, while he saved the Amalekite women, there was an Amalekite male that told David, oh, I killed Saul. And David had that guy killed. What are you doing? Talking about you killed Saul. David was no coon. David was no step and fetch it like a dog. Well, you know what? Thank you for killing my enemy of my people. And I'm going to reward you. No, that's not the style David had. And the Most High said David is a man after his own heart. You understand? Why you think perhaps so many Israelites are named Dawid? Even if you say Hebrew only has the ah sound, there's a lot of Israelites named Dawad or Dawid. You understand? Putting it like that, right? The legacy that was left, the name that was left, the fact that the people in Ghana have a chart stating that they come from the line of David. Did you know that? The Ashanti people in Ghana talk about them coming from the house of David. Did you know that the New York Times spoke about part of the Beta Israel or the Khalash's legacy and history going back to King David? It's no disrespect. Nobody talks about coming from the house of Saul. Esther was in the Bible from the house of Saul. But when you look at Israel at large, you don't see people talking about they from the house of Saul. You see people talking about they from the house of David. Because the name of the righteous is for a blessing. So if you look at the character of David or David, to not be the dog and stay in one spot, and to tell his son, keep the laws of Moses. Before his death, David told Solomon that. And when David did what he did that was wrong, to sit there and say, I have sinned, that says a lot for a leader. Because if you're a leader and you're going to let your leader title cause you to not confess, while perhaps people respected you for your leader title, you have abused your leader title. Somebody, the brother devalue, who wrote, David even restrained one of his soldiers from murdering Saul. And even when he had the perfect opportunity to do so, he didn't. Even after many attempts on his life by Saul. That shows you character. My opinion, my brother devalue and those listening, anybody telling David he's sleeping, so is his bodyguard, so you could just take this, thing and just slay him, is a person who doesn't even respect David. There was a song back in the 80s, if I think it was the 80s, and the chorus of it went, beat him up, T, and then the other guy says, chill. Beat him up, T, chill. When somebody can try to amp you on to do something that is not the best thing to do, they don't love and respect you. While we talking about love and respect. You understand? Whoever that soldier was that told David to do that didn't love David. Didn't understand rank and file. Now, when the Amalekite came along and said that he slew Saul, David said, pick up all. And it says one of the men got up and slew the guy who said that he murdered Saul. Come to find out, he didn't even murder Saul. So you sat there and tried to get brownie points, you understand, over something that was based upon a lie. Brothers and sisters, getting back into this. Thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord thy God for any vow. As pointed out, a vow, one of the things it does is it binds the person to the maker, whom you're making the vow to. For even both of these are an abomination unto the Lord thy God. So do not devalue yourself. None of us are to be a harlot or a dog. A harlot, this person goes, that person goes. Israel had ways of naming things, and this is no disrespect. Rahab the harlot, in Hebrew it said is Rakab Hazonah. Do you know what the word Rakab means? Well, the word for road, R-O-A-D, is the word Rakob. The word Rakab in Hebrew, I don't know what it means in Rahab's Canaanite language, but I know that Rakab in Hebrew means wide. W-I-D-E. So in the Tanakh, in Joshua chapter 2, she was called wide the whore. What are we getting at, brothers and sisters? The spies knew to go to the harlot's house. These guys that went there were street smart. They knew that the whore of a people is not going to be loyal to her people. They knew by going to the whorehouse, she'll accept anything. Anybody can come on through her house. It's not something you got to earn your right to go through her door. Everybody is welcome. She's a harlot. Today's term, a jump off. She deals with men's genitalia as it is miscellaneous in her profession. These guys that went to the harlot's house knew that they could not go, one, to a married Canaanite woman's house. That married Canaanite woman who's loyal to her husband is going to be loyal to her people. So when you're about to declare war, you go to the weak link, the harlot. And all she cared about was just say me and my family. You know, you do what you got to do. As long as me and my family, we all right. Yeah. I don't know where those guys went. They went upstairs to the roof. And I don't know where they went. They were here. Yes. The Israelites were here. I don't know what happened. You heard right, because you know my house is house for war. For every guy to come in. And but they left, and you know. Those guys knew to go to the whorehouse. When the guy went to Yael, Hazor, Sisera, if you will, in Judges, maybe he thought that Jael in Judges chapter 4 was like a Rahab in Joshua chapter 2. No, she wasn't swirling as some women do today, for those who know where I'm going. This is a raw channel, brothers and sisters, in due respect, with no disrespect intended. She wasn't up there, hey, I'm just here to see what the world's about. Yael in Judges 4 had her mind already there. She wasn't the value of a harlot. So when Sisera went in, She hit him with the 10 pin and he died. Rahab, on the other hand, before that, she could care less of her people passing away. Just save my family. See, when you have the spirit of the whoredom to be okay around you, you allow those energies to come in that can break you down like Israel did with Jericho. You understand? When you okay with the gigolo, the male dog, you allow those energies to come in. And to no disrespect, break one down, i.e., example, Desiree Washington, Mike Tyson. For those who know way back what it was, back in the day. So we want to not be thought of as arrogant or belligerent when we declare our value, when we state who we are as a people, as a man, as a woman, as a family, as a tribe, and as a nation. There is no different when an Israelite shows hatred, one way, shape, form, fashion, or another, to an Israelite than when a nation say there's no archaeological evidence of the house of Israel. You, brothers and sisters, who hate on your own people, cause that to be. Don't think so? Why do you think there's a debate now saying there was no nation called Israel, they were all Canaanites? Because ancient Israel worshiped the gods of the Canaanites. So why will the Israelites worship the gods of Canaan? Duh. Of course, they were Canaanites. By you not declaring your value as a child of the Most High, and not a child of Chemosh, or Baal, or Ashima, or Asherah, or Ashtaroth, or all these other idols of the nations, by you not asserting in respectful manners your own position, you have been devalued and degraded to being people whom you're not, i.e. the Canaanites in history. Did ancient Israel think that 300-400 years later, 1,000 years later, 1,500 years later, after worshiping the gods of Canaan, that we gotta now struggle, get things together, read books, take trips, try to show that ancient Israel came from Shem and not Ham, because you decided to go the way of the Hamites and not the way of your own ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who worshiped the Most High alone. See what happens when you devalue yourself? When Israel played the harlot, worshiping the gods of other nations, became like a dog and a whore, you devalued yourself. The nation of Israel can't sit there and say, we are the Israelites, we are the Israelites. When you sit up there worshiping the gods of Canaan, you got to change your speed, bro, sis, or whoever you may be, as brother or sister. So, family, in closing out this particular manner, do not devalue yourself. None of us are to be a jump off or a dog. When Simeon and Levi spoke with their father, and I thank the people in the chat, the Rayahu Ben Dora, Adoniah, and let me scroll up. Ezra Ben Levi, Uziel Yisrael. If this is the same Uziel Yisrael, expect your book at the end of the week. If it's the same one that we spoke with about the book. All right, brother. Tamika and anyone else in the chat, much respect. Looking at it like that, brothers and sisters. And knowing one's place in this earth is very important. When you don't know your history, any history you will do. And brothers and sisters, in not being a harlot and in not being a dog, what did, as I was going to point out, Levi and Simeon state? Should they treat our sister as one does a harlot? What is Jacob to say after that to his sons? We're supposed to say yes. What happened with Dinah, with Hamor and Shechem in that situation in Genesis 34 was not rape. It was not rape because it says his heart cleaved to Dinah. Rapists don't have a heart that cleaves to the victim. What happened nonetheless is he took Dinah and dealt with her like a harlot will be dealt with. Levi and Simeon was not okay with their sister being devalued. That wasn't what in today's terminology we will call something that will be rocked with. It was something, brothers and sisters, they were not tolerant of. So we want to have that love for one another. Stop the sidebar hating, brothers and sisters. Israelite community and extended. If you listen to this and you don't acknowledge yourself as an Israelite, we still know as quote unquote black people. Stop the sidebar hating. That same love and respect that we give at the job, let's do that with one another. In doing business, don't ask your brother and sister for a discount when you would not fix your mouth to ask Ishmael, the Arabs. When you would not sit there and ask the Chinese for a discount. You're going to get that quarter out of your pocket. You are not going to go in the Chinese shop and ask them for a discount. You will dig for that quarter. You're going to find them 2 dimes and a nickel if that's the price of it. But with us not seeing each other in a certain light, oh, that's some, whatever. You know what that word is. So we don't think that we are worth the respect that others are given by us simply by doing business. And brothers and sisters, that situation in truth is very, very sad. There is nothing wrong with sharing your brothers and sisters' accomplishments online and offline. It doesn't take nothing from you to do so. Do you understand? Do you know that every view that YouTube gets a dime? So why not support what we about? Reach out to the brother. Most I bless. Shalom.